could be a foul. Good evening, everyone. I decided to get in right under the radar so I could do the show. I've got the meta master running DG all weekend for me, Kyle Trea. And I've got the Art Star's own, I pointed the wrong way, Mr. Brian Horton.
How's it going, guys? And gals? And others?
Uh-oh. Lyle Dix is starting us off. $2 super chat. Hashtag Midwest Metasoft. Shout outs to my teammates. Mr. Tom Ogden, we had to dig him up. And then he crushed all weekend. Lyle took that Chaos Army and destroyed and dismantled all folks, proving once again Chaos were fair and balanced. The damage that I watched some of that stuff do, we had Tom on Eldar for the weekend and Lyle on CSM. Those armies are strong. If you put a player on there that's looking for blood, they'll get you some points, baby. Ooh. Pretty strong. Pretty strong.
We also had Brandon Valley on Tau.
He repping his boys. He's repping his crude party.
So definitely have to give you guys props as you guys went down to, what was it, Super Monkey Punch Fight Kung Fu Panda Teams Tournament? What was that? The name of that again, Brad?
You forgot Death Ninja.
Death Ninja, I'm sorry.
That was one of the we pulled a victory, but I do want to give props. Boys from JD, the boys from Way Games, Juice running it, or hosting it. It was a fantastic event. It was just, everything was super nice. It was a beautiful location, tons of fun, great people, but like food and drink were super reasonable and really good. And that's one of the things that really does make it really nice for a tournament, is you don't come back, negative 5,000, but you have a good time, and that adds to the time. You know what I mean? Everybody ended up staying at the tournament. Everybody wasn't at 500 other places. We all were together doing stuff. It was probably one of the best tournaments I've been through this year, in the last 12 months, say.
Yeah, it was a very nice venue, and it was like just after apparently a bunch of water damage and a broken pipe, and like the floors were torn up, and we were still impressed by how nice it was. Yeah,
we're looking to come back. I mean, it was beautiful. I know. And we had karaoke. so it was a team tournament, and I love everything about the team tournament. Met a lot of new people, talked to a lot of the teams. I'm actually already setting up scrimmages for the DOG crews to battle it out a little bit to get ready for new team tournaments. And I love everything about the team. You know what I mean? It's everybody's got their role. Your points count towards everything, whether you're winning or losing. You're grinding out points. As always, I cannot push teams enough for all of us. I put that in the DOG chats today. So if anybody hasn't seen the Discord on that, I'm gonna put when I say I'm probably gonna make Lyle do it. I'm gonna make a new area for people looking for teams, so that we can make sure that we get all the players that would like to be on a team together. Because there's just so many people that are interested, but they don't have a full team. I want to get all those people together.
So I gotta say, it was really nice, and a huge contrast to the first time I did teams at ATC when I was in charge. Didn't really know what I was doing, messing up pairings. It was cool to just have you and Lyle like on top of the matrix, understanding what we're supposed to be doing and who's gonna go where, and I'm just standing around waiting to be told who I'm playing and on what.
The best is still Lyle going, yeah, I think Kyle just realized that his role is a speed bump now after game 3.
And I love it. That's that's how I like playing 40K. So like getting the hard matchups to elevate other people and just trying to grind out points, and sometimes accidentally like smashing a matchup you're not supposed to.
Yeah, it was fun. And I like the fact of the things that we took, like Brandon's list bringing the Tau. Did anybody else even bring Tau?
I think one or two other teams had Tau, but it wasn't anything close to Brandon's Tau.
Right. And the thing is I really liked having that because it's something that Brandon likes playing, and I think that players play better when they play lists that they want to play, not something they just were forced to play. Also, his Tau looks sick. You know what I mean? He's got them all converted as crude, so it looks badass. And everybody crushed this weekend. It was awesome. You know, I mean, we really got together, had a great time, and did it. As usual, we DOG number one partiers too. So it was a double title.
Some of us.
All right, fine. Some of us. He says he had fun. Good. He damn well better have.
Brandon's Tau was excellent for teams. I mean, besides a YOLO, like I'm gonna table this the Sisters Army, which was, you know, just didn't go his way. He was just straight crushing all the other matchups.
Yeah, he crushed it. All of our team just really performed. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing in a team tournament is it's not about everybody smashing. It's about everybody just grinding out points. You know what I mean? So we just kept getting great wins throughout the weekend, as well as having a great time, which is number one still. You know what I mean? And we played the old rules, and I'm excited to see what changes are going to come from the new rules, to be honest with you. We've all looked at, hopefully, again, props out to Meta Monday. Fantastic wrap up of the last 17 weeks, plus a look at the events that used the new rules this weekend. What are your guys' first takes on that?
So with the new stuff, my first take is that we got to see some armies that were really underperforming step up. We all thought Necrons would still be good. They were a big part of the meta, which was nice. Eldar still seemed strong, which is not a surprise in any way, shape, or form. And then everything else performed within the same parameters of where they have been, which is kind of nice. And a lot of people were saying that the Gladius Vanguard or the Space Marine Vanguard was dead, and I was like, nah, I don't think so. It's still one in the upper 50s, so it was nice.
I don't think it's surprising to see any Necron stuff like doing well immediately. They're probably the least impacted by the changes and might be the best army in the game right now. It was a little sad to look through and not see anything like they got some help come up. Custodes is like a 4-1 at Captain Con, but like, Drukhari is a 4-1, so I can't.
Well, Drukhari also won an event.
I was like, yeah, Drukhari won an event. They had 8 players and won at a 58% win rate, which is way above the 42 or 53.
It's
still a little early, right? Like you're
100%
way early to understand really the impact of the data slate. People are still like building,
but just in that small microcosm, for them to come up from where were they were really low on that. You know, and you got to think there's a couple really good players in the world who played Drukhari. They were at 41%. And even if they, level out in the 50s, that's still a massive improvement for them.
I mean, they were just unplayable as far as like if you're looking to power through before. Now I'm excited. One of the things tomorrow on Deal With It, I have a Drukhari list, a new Eldar list, and a new Orc list. And Sean's got 3 lists of his own that we're going to be going over tomorrow. So I think that you can play like really hardcore Drukhari. The Team Smasher, Thomas Ogden, comes in with a $4.99 super chat. Just got home a few minutes ago. Love you guys. Had a great time this weekend. Also, obligatory baking bread. Go Blue post. Spitters was fugit greater than Land Raiders. True story. Jesus. We had Tom play into Gladius Marines. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 times. And he was just picking up Land Raiders with Spitters. Just like, there's all your mortals. And then all of a sudden, Pokeball in the Incarn. Hey, is that aggressors inside? Say hello to the Incarn.
He He was rolling just statistically average, is what he said. So we're gonna have to go with that.
I do love the fact that Fugid just like literally matrixed any nerfs, because he's just so nuts with his get back up, 5 up field goal paid, which Tom found out about after game 3, and just Melta 6 is just bonkers, dude. Just like drop a hot fate dice on it. You're like, did that dude just roll up and 12 damage me with one shot? Yeah, it's a pretty big gun. So, ooh. Jukari, exactly, the dark one, the dark elves.
So Eloise asked, I don't want to derail us too much, but Eloise asked a bit ago, she said, Kyle mentioned how pairings are hard. How do you do it? Do you want to explain how we do it?
The thing is with pairings, when you're looking at pairings, it's a big deal. There's a couple things I'm gonna go to the wall like, for a couple things here. We'll start with that one. One of the biggest things in pairings is you're not looking to get the smashes. You're looking to stay away from the trash. So you have to always know what the bad matches are for your team and look for the literally staying away from the bad ones. Your defenders are actually looking to take the bad shit out of the pairings for the rest of the team so that you end up with favorable pairings, because you want at least 2 of your players that are your big hitters to have a chance to be big hitters and get those 15 to 20s, but you also have to make sure that you're not stepping in grenades while doing that, because you don't want to get 2 20s and 2 0s. You have to really look for not having bad matchups more so than having the best matchups, because if you just grab the first thing that comes out, a lot of times it's really bad for the team. And that's really my pairing strategy most of the time. Tom, again, John Mastagnas coming in with the 199. He goes, you're forgetting Fugid. We did not forget Fugid. Holy God, he beats up on people. But that's the main pairing strategy, is more knowing what the actual scores are, could be for your opponents. Drink all the Ensure in North Carolina. Jesus. You're not wrong. But that's one of the things of pairings, 100%. You say Tom's rolls are average. Lyle Dixon with his $5 super chat. Tom's rolls are average the same way 16 extra Melta shots don't really impact the game. Exactly. I want to go to Zoobs on this too, because he made it a good question, but I think that I have a really skewed answer. So Zoop says, Brad, how long before an event do you like to have rules lock? I don't like to have very much time at all, because I always want to play the newest stuff, but I'm also not a hobbyist. So like, I'm willing to bring whatever I've trolled the bottom of the ocean for to find for models. And a lot of people aren't. They want to bring their beautiful stuff. They want to bring the things that they've modeled on, and they need ample time between to know what that is. So I think, I don't even know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? 'Cause like I said, I'm bad one to ask on that, because I always just want to play whatever the new shit is.
I like the Monday before the event, personally. I find that that's significantly enough time for the most part. But 2 weeks is probably should be the norm, just to make life easy on people. But it's up to the size of the event organizer, and how much you're a hobby push. If you're just a come smash them up, you don't do a paint score, you don't have a hobby score, have the newest rules be like the Wednesday beforehand, have lists do the Thursday beforehand, and everybody go beat each other up.
What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Sorry, what was the question? I was reading the chat. My brain is 100% lagging behind.
Well played, Kyle. You know what? That was his answer right there. What?
We'll stick with it.
Where am I? I love it. Forgetful Fugit is what I called him after my teammate forgot about them and he flipped the Land Raider. That is a good story for the weekend. So Tom, again, his second or third time into the similar army, the Gladius Land Raider army, and he pushes up the Land Raider, and Tom just had him behind a wall, and the dude just forgot he was there, and so Tom just phantasms him forward 7 inches behind another, staying behind a wall, and then they both talk it out and go, so he's well within Melta range next turn, and the guy's just like, Yep. It's just like, well, this is gonna suck. Like, wish I knew that dude was there. I know you told me he was there, and then I instantly deleted that information from my memory and moved on with life. So, whew, that dude does some damage.
I have a question for you guys, and this is an aside from everything going on. A lot of us do play by the intent of the game, but when you're in a game and you've agreed to be playing by intent, and this is not something I typically do, I'm normally a play it as it lies kind of person. But when all of a sudden the person goes judge and calls someone over for positioning and everything else, and the judge comes over to the table, and the one guy goes, "Well, I was playing by the intent of whatever X would be." And the other guy goes, "Nah, look at the board state. This is where things are." How do you feel being the person playing by intent, or have you ever been the guy on the other side of that coin?
100%. But the thing is that you should be having enough conversations with your opponent. And I've learned this over the game. As long as you're talking, you keep talking about what you're supposed to be doing. Yes, you go through it. The thing is that yes, I don't want people to gotcha you. I don't want things to happen. I don't want people, if you've made an agreement that, if I move here, you can't see me, or if you move here, I'm not going to be able to charge because of the distance or whatever, then that is just what happens because you have agreed to it now. Now, if you're trying to box out things and you just do a terrible job of it, I let our last game, I was boxing out perfectly, and then I moved my last two models the wrong way after measuring it out last game, you know what I mean? And he had just enough room to bring the Nightbringer in. Yeah, my intent was to block it out. We talked about it, and then I fucked it up. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Those are two different things, though. You know what I mean? Once you're saying that if I'm here, I'm good, or if I'm here, I'm good, then that should be how it's played. However, playing by intent doesn't mean that you get to just willy-nilly move your shit all over, you know what I mean, with no consequences.
Because that was a question that came up to me. It was posed by some other judges talking about, these guys came to an agreement. People around the table said it, but when they called for a judge to come over, the judge has to, judge the table state and where the table state is. And if one player goes, "No, I didn't agree to that," where do you go? You have to go to what the table is.
You have to do what the table is. That's the problem. That sucks, though. That does suck for sure. Anna's got it right. This is exactly what I was saying is, you stating, "I'm putting this here so you don't see me," is not remotely the same thing as, "Do we agree that if I put this here, you can't see me too?" You have to get a social agreement with your opponent. Don't just make statements about your intent. You have to get the other person involved all the time. It's a big deal on that. Have you ever someone agree to something and then play stupid after calling it? It's yes. I mean, here's the thing. There's always going to be an asshole out there. You can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? You can ask. I always say that I can make most anybody have a good game with me because I'm going to ask so many questions. I'm going to figure out exactly where you can move. We're going to agree on positioning. We're going to agree on movement. We're going to figure out what's on the table and how it's played. So even if you decide something different, it still should be the same way for the judges when they come over. The majority of the player base, though, our community is pretty cool as a whole. And if people are going to be doing that a lot, those people are going to be ostracized from the community, and they're also going to be well known pretty soon. And then you'll just know who are the people that you have to watch out for on that, because most of the time, everybody's pretty cool about what you're trying to do as long as you agree that it's possible. That's again what Anna was saying. You don't just state you can't see me. You basically go, "Hey, let's both look at this and see if this is possible. This is what I'm trying to do." I'm like, "Kyle, I don't want to be charged here. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be whatever the thing is I want to do." Well, let's measure it out together before I move it. You know what I mean? See if it's actually a real thing. Then you agree with it. And like I said, you have to have a conversation all the time. It's a big deal.
I think that being on the other side of having intent weaponized or other facets of the game weaponized, it's important to still approach every game with that idea that you're going to have the communication and form social contracts with your opponent. just so that you don't fall into like the bad habit of being that guy later.
100%.
You call someone over, you agree to something, you make the contract with somebody, and then they do whatever, they go against it, they call a judge. Yeah, you got. It feels bad. You know next time, like if you ever play this dude again, he's gonna do it. But you still have to approach the next game and the next game and the next game after that with that same mindset of like, oh, I'm still gonna play by intent. I'm still gonna do the right things, because the random assholes, waiting in the bushes are gonna be there forever. But you have to play your game the correct way so that
100%. It'll make your games better too, because you getting that reputation for being a fair player means that other players tend to play you fair.
Yep.
They're not looking for moments that they can take advantage of stuff. But I do like, at least, Lyle, can Brad make me have a good game if I'm actively trying to ruin his day? Which the follow-up of isn't trying to ruin Brad's day a good game in and of itself. So the thing is that you should be. I play my games a lot where I look like a crazy person because I'm saying out loud what I'm doing. I would rather give just more and more of what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? And the thing is also let your opponent know. You know what I mean? I always go, hey man, let me know what you want to do. If you miss any random thing, because I really think that most people don't want to win a game on a nonsense. Like my last game, my opponent forgot to scout like at the beginning of the game and he was going first. Yeah, man, go scout. Like, of course, scout. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to win on a technicality. You know what I mean? Just do what you're supposed to do. I want to win the game, but I want to win at your best. I want to have an exciting game. I don't want to win on a clerical error. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's like one of the nice things I can say. I saw it in an RTT I ran this weekend. Guy who plays Knights but hasn't played them since the last FAQ, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Overwatch whatever with the Knight," and then the next turn goes by and the guy he was playing against didn't know the rule either, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh my god, I completely couldn't have Overwatched you during your last turn." He was like, the guy's like, "Oh, I'll just put my model back and we'll just go back," and he was like, "Nah, dude, I concede." He was like, "You win the game." And he was like, you didn't mean, he goes, yeah, but I should know that rule. It's my army. And it was like just a great moment of sportsmanship of I really screwed up. And it did have consequence on the game. It wasn't like it was an inconsequential thing. And he just took the time to say, hey, look, I made a mistake. It's on my bad. I screwed up. And he caught himself. And both players were like, oh, that stinks, man. I'm sorry, but I understand why you want to concede. And then they just kind of was like, all right, well, if this would have happened, and they talked the game out with a concession, which was really just a great bit of sportsmanship, I thought.
That's a big, and I agree with everything here in the chat here. Intent is collaboration, not declarations, 100%. KR, my favorite games are 3 hours or someone who doesn't talk, not so much. That the thing is this is a social game. It's a social engagement. This isn't just trying to play chess with somebody. It's a big deal in this. So it's important that you're not weaponizing intent either. You don't want to be either. You don't want to be the gotcha guy, but you also don't want to be, hey, I intend to do this when it's not real. You know what I mean? You have to talk to your opponent about it. Meta one here. If I did a Teams Tuesday, average score seems good per faction. Faction event rep seems obvious. Does win rate matter at all? Can I combine all 3+ teams and hierarchy but 5+ onlys? It's hard for the 3+ team events because you're going to have basically 3 armies playing each other all the time. So it's a little bit, their data doesn't include some of the bigger things. Like for instance, we took Tau as an outlier because we wanted an army that people weren't preparing for. And we wanted me as the kind of flex position. And then we had Kyle playing Death Guard as our main defender to pull out whatever we could get off the table for him and just have him grind out points. So in 5 to 8 mans, you have a little bit better of a view of how the teams go. You know what I mean? Because you have more options for defender roles and hybrid roles. Lyle coming in with a $5 super chat. If you want to win the game on technicality, go play Magic the Gathering and get the fuck out of my hobby, nerds. All right, then.
And look, it was just a question I wanted to bring up because I know a lot of us play by intent, and a lot of us are. Some people have been, because people have been weaponizing that. A lot of people are starting to like move away from it. So I was wondering what your guys' opinions was.
Yeah. Oh, I like this with you. This is another thing that goes with Joe from Meta Monday. Monster goes, your Tau is also specifically tech to be good versus elves, it seems. We took that. We specifically wanted that. We wanted to have huge mobility, but also he had a ton of rerolls versus fly. So effectively the entirety of the Eldar army. So we were taking tech pieces. Like we chose Tau and we chose Death Guard specifically, to do that. And then we just kind of had my list to be able to grab whatever we had to get out of the mix. You know what I mean? Like I played the Canoptic Chord, I played CSM and stuff like that. We wanted to get some stuff out of the way. Basically, Brandon was like a wild card. I was the hybrid. Kyle was the defender, and Lyle and Tom just smashed. You know what I mean? We got them games where they just put the beat down. You know what I mean? But you want the people. You want the people that bring the hitter list to have the ability to be hitters. That's the whole thing of a team. Is when you're looking at your concept and go back to the pairing question that Eloise asked, is it's important to get your players into the roles that they're meant for. You don't want your hitters scrambling. You want Kyle and I grinding. You know what I mean? We're grinding for points. You don't want your hitters grinding for points. You want them in the matches that are made for them.
Interestingly enough, though, there was a team there that just brought like 5 of the best singles meta team or lists. And we were kind of like, oh boy.
Yeah, several of them did that. Like Brandon goes in and kids, we actually say that I took Tau because it's fun. Yeah. I mean, you basically had pretty Tau, so we wanted you to bring them, be honest. We wanted to get a paint score, damn it.
I mean, that's a big thing in teams event is isn't having a skew list or something that can handle a skew list a big thing?
It's a big deal. I mean, I took orcs for half and half. I really enjoy playing orcs, but I also can play orcs into a lot of things that the other armies can't, because I can just kind of score points, even if I'm getting my head kicked in. We had multiple games where I lost a shit ton of models and I just put up a huge amount of score. You have to have some of those designed into your teams. You have to also understand that when you're getting your head kicked in, it's important to score. It's so much different than singles, and you have to have the ability to switch gears on that. Because if you and I play in a singles game and I start losing, I have to win. You know what I mean? So I go for it. In a team game, I just put the car in reverse and, basically try to limit my opponent's differential. And it's a big deal that you have armies that can do that. So you need to have, like in a 5-man team event, you need to have 3 armies that can kind of just deal with getting beat up on and score points no matter what. And then you have two armies that are in charge of putting up big scores. And I feel like you did a decent job about that.
I think there's a lot of like thoughtfulness that goes into building the lists that require you to be able to grind and get beat up at the same time. Like one of the big moments for my Death Guard list was the inclusion of the cultists. Like in a singles event, they're not great. You probably wouldn't ever put them in there. But for teams, like they just have such an important role, and they flip matchups that are really shitty that we don't want other people getting, and make them like really good for me, like World Eaters specifically, or orcs, or things like that, where you just get to push those cultists out, line up the Nurglings behind them, and make that like a nightmare for people. That was a super good call, and we have to give that to Sean Rice. That was his call. I wish he was here so he could claim that little one, but we weren't on that first.
He's not here now, so I'm claiming it for myself. That was definitely
your
mine.
Idea. I forgot. But yeah, like that's just I like that the duality in the teams versus like the singles. You have these lists that beat down, or you have these incredible lists. Like Lyle's list was just, you just pointed at the 3 best things for CSM and said you take those, right? Like you're just going to take the best things and you're going to go get your scores. And then we took tech pieces for Death Guard to make it good into whatever we were afraid of playing there.
Pretty much. Because there's a difference in the team. I enjoy team list building a lot more than I like singles list building. because I don't have to make a list that can take on everything for all the five lists. You can just avoid knights or horde or whatever it is that you're not playing. Like for instance, with Tom's list, he played Eldar with triple avatar. Yeah, we were cheating. We played just 3 avatars. We played the Avatar of the Incarnate, so double avatar, Trip Night Spinner list. And we just kept him away from Horde. You know what I mean? And he did such a great job of killing the other elite armies. You know what I mean? And you don't have to worry about that in teams. You're just like, we're not having him play that.
So in teams, Brad, what do you think is the strongest, like 3 armies to have right now in a 5-man team?
That's a good question. And yes, Joe was at the event this weekend. That's what we were playing. But so I think you got to. Necrons are a big deal. It's hard though to say that though, because like we had Brandon's style because he likes it, but also like it was an off-meta choice. You know what I mean? And he knows how to play it. So you always have a little bit of the mojo when people aren't used to playing things. I still think.
So if you had, let's say you had every faction specialist at your disposal for your team.
Every faction specialist.
Every faction specialist, everyone was the pro at what they were playing. What 3 armies would you want right now in that team?
I mean,
just be super solid.
Brandon's got he stole my thunder. Screw you, Brandon. Elder Chaos and Necrons. I don't care about the nerfs. They're still amazing. Necrons didn't get touched at all. Chaos, like we could literally take the exact same Chaos list we brought and drop like 1 unit. You know, yes, it lost OC2 from the Accursed Cultist to go to AC1. But the thing is it just does such mad damage and it's so hard to get rid of. And Eldar, you just shift a little bit. You could still play like the list we played. We probably wouldn't do triple night spinner, but we could play that double avatar list with more trash. And again, I have a list coming up tomorrow, and you gotta think that like specters and warp spiders and hawks and fire dragons, all of that shit is still crazily good, you know. And Eldar is just gonna be good. It can put up points. I actually think the new Eldar lists that are gonna come out will be more versatile. They won't be as sledgehammery, you know, with triple night spinners and 10 Wraith Guard and stuff like that. But I think they're going to be able to handle more stuff because they'll have more scoring pieces in it. And their scoring pieces are amazing. They have move and shoot, or shoot and move on multiple things. They have the ability to just pick shit off of the table. You know, they can steal objectives. They're all not that expensive on it. And they have great rules and good strats. They're really still just really good.
So when you're looking at the 5-man teams, again, we'll stick with that for a minute. What armies are you going, you know what, they're just not strong enough to put on the team? What are the bottom armies there?
That's hard though, because like a lot of those things can fit in right now.
Okay.
I don't know where Custodes are right now, but I'm also just not like a huge fit. Like Custodes aren't my jam because they're just too expensive, of course. But that army is a nightmare for certain armies. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people just bounce off them. So it's another. I think that Custodes are a mid-tier army that like probably plays good in teams. Who's not able to be put in teams? I don't know. I feel like the meta is actually in a good place.
Okay.
So that's tough. So I know that I have some top people, but I don't think there's anybody that's like just not team worthy. Who would you not put in a team for you, Kyle? You're making Team Trail right now. Who doesn't make the cut?
Probably Thousand Suns, even though they're like tricksy and do a lot of things. Just don't think that they're particularly good in a team's environment.
I mean, I can see that they have like infinite damage that goes away quickly, you know? So I could see that where you wouldn't think that they could be in the entire weekend.
Unfortunately, probably not demons. They just don't have, even with their points dropped, they just don't really have an identity still. You're not sure what they're going to be doing, and their list is like gimmicky and is supposed to just explode something quickly and then move on, but it's just not sustainable.
It's weird because I think that we might though. I think that like we need more time because I think there's a multiple demon armies that could make things out there.
I know I watched one of the guys at the RTT this weekend ran a really fun demons list that was like 2 big units of blood crushers, 3 big fat tubbies, a bloodthirster, and Bellicor, and it was really interesting to watch play.
We've been working on a list that I think is really good. I'd like to see it like in some testing, TTS, and on the table, and just to see how it functions.
Play champ, 25 custodian guard, 50 wardens, just under 2K. I mean, that's just a lot of shit for custodes right now.
Yeah.
Certain armies just can't deal with that. You know, I mean, that's just too many 2-up saves, too many fights first, too many rerolls. Whew. I don't know on the Riptides either. $165 is a good price point though for them.
They seem cheap and durable. I mean, they do. I agree with what Brandon said there. Is actually they look really nice.
Well, they definitely don't deal as much damage as they used to, but they used to be just insanity. So yeah. So I think that there's a decent amount of army. That's another reason why I really like teams, is because you can just start skewing lists though, and say that I don't play X. You know what I mean? And you can make armies like that. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that as we go on.
Have you ever, Brad, in all your years of doing teams events, have you ever ran into hey, our army's good against all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden you hit one of the teams and you're like, oh, there is no good matchups for us there. It is bad matchup after bad matchup.
In fives, yeah. We had a team like that. Hell, we had, sometimes it's not everybody. Like, I can't, what team was it where we just didn't like Tom into almost anything? Like, there was only one.
It was X4, the day 2 first pairing.
Yeah, we got him into something, luckily, that we wanted him into, but they had like 3.5, like, just nope matches.
There was 2 filled out columns on the matrix that just said Tom will quit.
Yeah. We've had that. We've also guessed wrong. I mean, hell, the year that we won the WTC as Team America, we had Ganyo just taking it to the face all the time. We thought because we were bringing a horde meta, and we thought other people were going to be leaning into that because we had so strongly pushed into it, and like all the other teams brought like double knights and primarchs and just had all these big guy lists, and he was just bringing like bolter spams, aggressors and stuff, and just we're like, well, you're gonna get killed. All right, we're getting feedback from one of you guys.
We got Lyle Dixon jumping in to be loud.
You just heavy breathing on us,
Yeah.
Lyle?
Look, I'm here to ruin the stream and drive 12 hours, and I've already done one of those things.
Well, thanks.
Sorry, just bumped me out.
I will uncover fucking hold, please. While I fix this, you just heavy breathe into the microphone a little bit more. Maybe if you could shake some tambourines or something and just make it really loud, that'd be great. I'm hitting you with a Ric Flair.
I'm just behind the thing making obscene gestures.
I think it's important to highlight for some people out there as well. If you want to see just an incredible game, you got to check out round 5 of the teams tournament on War Games Live.
I will kick you out for bringing this one up. Hold on. I got to actually get Brian back in. Nothing to see here, everyone. I just got to use technology to find where Brian is now. Nope. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Where are you? Just finding Brian. Just don't worry about it.
Look, it's double me.
Don't worry, everybody. This isn't totally Lyle's fault, but it's 158% Lyle's fault. You know what? I gave him such nice props for the weekend, and this is how he repays me, by coming in and exploding my stream. Okay, we're back. Mostly.
Look, man, I literally rushed home just so I could do this to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that my army just appeared at my house. That's nice too.
I just want to point out, Brad, only one person on the stream won an award that said best something this weekend, so I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Well, I'm sorry. Did someone in this thing win an individual award at a team event?
And if I have learned anything from being on Death or Glory, and like Brad and Tom preach this all the time, is that the most important thing that you can do at a team event is sacrifice the other members on your team to ensure that you win best general. And that's
Exactly. That is definitely what we preach.
Yeah. And as the guy who was in charge of all the pairings this weekend and almost cost our team the first round, I get to take full responsibility for that.
It's so crazy that like you got best general and Tom outscored you. How'd that work?
Hey,
Oh, God.
only one of us, between the two of us, only one of us won 5 games. That's all I'm saying. That's what matters. I don't know why you're trying to like add information that doesn't matter.
Okay. He is back like G-Man. Hello. It is the Brady Butt intro, very much. And Tech Hard. I had the tech up, damn it. I didn't know I was going to get a RKO out of nowhere from fucking Lyle.
It's your own fault for not assuming that would happen.
Now it
You
seems
should know better.
This feels like the reasoning I give to everybody else when I do dumb shit to everybody. You're given the sweep the leg.
So, of course, as we're halfway through, everybody remember to like and subscribe to our video. Helps us out and makes us keep creating content.
And if you don't like me joining midstream and ruining everything, please comment and drive our likes up because we'll know you don't like it when you comment, all right? So help the algorithm one way or the other. Tell us you love us, tell us you hate us, either way.
That is true. The more comments, it doesn't matter if they're good or bad. It still just does better for us. Oh, man. I like where this went.
I want to cross streams and talk about new meta and also the team tournament. Necrons are wildly insane. I can't wait to see them all over the place.
How wildly insane do you think they are, Lyle?
Yeah, Lyle.
Look, I'm trying to fix the breathing problem. I'm aware of it. I don't know what to do about it. Sorry, I was on mute trying to help.
Stop breathing. It's easy.
We did have a stream where I just wrote words and held them up to the camera. Maybe I could do that again. I think the Necrons are. Tom and I were talking about what army he should play on the ride home. And he was like, "Oh, I'll probably either play Black Templars or Necrons." I was like, "You should probably play Black Templars because if any army currently exists that would require an emergency data slate before the next 6-month one occurs, it would probably be Necrons. If the meta developed in such a way that they became obviously oppressive. I don't think any other army is likely to become obviously oppressive, but the jury's out on Necrons right now. So
It honest to God just feels like someone's lying to you when they're reading out the abilities of Necrons, just model by model. You're just like, you're making that shit up. That can't be how that works. They can't be that tough. And it's exactly how it is. It's all that tough, and it all works that way. It's bullshit.
Canoptic Court has got some sick strats, by the way. I mean, both Hypercrypt and Canoptic are really good. Like, really good.
Remember when everyone was losing their mind over Phantasm? Well, you have it again.
Yep.
It's not as good as Phantasm because it's a reactive move that you can stay away from if you need to. But then they also have the Nurgle strat. And a lot of other strats. So
those are 3 Satans.
I mean, that seems legit.
The Satans are the only thing that, to me, they just seem under point costed. Like, they should all cost as much as the Lion or Bobby G and be in that ballpark. And then I don't think it would be as bad. I think that's part of the problem is you get too much trash in that list with 3 Satans.
I didn't even look at the point costs.
If you were looking at, $350 per Satan, then we're talking.
What are their actual point costs? If they're like 175, I'm gonna.
No, they're like 275, 290 in that range for most of them.
Nightbreaker's 250, 255.
250?
Mm-hmm.
Handy dandy GW.
Uh-oh. Hannah coming in with a $10 super chat. Rear Army list name from Valkyrie's February RTT. Necrons are perfectly reasonable. Of course, the BDS and MFM didn't touch them. And sorry to hear about your army, though. That was good.
It was really good.
I
think my favorite of looking at army list names this weekend was show me where the data slate touched you.
I mean, Necrons are clearly the number one right now. I don't think that they're like wildly busted. You guys can throw rocks at me for this, but like, I think that they're going to be touched soon. I don't think they're an untouchable army. I don't feel like it's beginning Eldar or old school AdMech and shit like that. You know what I mean? I think that they're just a little bit better than everybody else.
So they're 255, 265, and 270 for the Satans for prices. So they are definitively way undercosted.
I do. Brandon's the same on that. I wish this event used the new data slate. It would have been nice. 100%.
Yeah. I think it would have been a lot more confusing though.
Yeah, but hell, it was, the hardest thing on that is like when we don't use the new stuff and they had 20 pages of rules commentary. So are we using the rules commentary, but not the data slate? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Those are the tougher things. Because I think you immediately have to at least use the rules as far as the things that they cleared up, like mechanics and stuff like that.
I mean, the rules commentary for the most part just cleaned stuff up that was, I don't want to say obvious, but in some ways obvious.
Well, it was really obvious. Not all of it, but like most of it.
Yeah. Most of it was pretty obvious. Although I found something in the data slate this weekend that I did not know, and I had to read it like 4 times to try and understand why. But anyway, it was in the rules commentary. It was just one of those things of, oh, there's a thing about battle shock underneath repositioning of units, and I'm like, why isn't that linked somewhere in battle shock? It just kind of threw me off. But it's hard to memorize 20 pages of rules plus a rule book plus every data sheet. It's virtually impossible, I would say, but it's interesting.
The thing is like, that's another thing where we have to be cooler to people, especially when they stream, because man, there is a lot of rules and people are going to jack something up. Don't just throw them on a fire pit. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot of interactions.
And even people that play like yourself, who you can say is a professional 40K player, we're going to get something wrong eventually. You're going to make a minor mistake with a rule or a misinterpretation of something because you just read it. You skimmed it quick. You missed a line, whatever. Things happen. It's not the end of the world. We are still playing toy soldiers.
Oh, 100%. Also, KR, yes. Use the app. It is worth the money. You just got censored by Nightbot? What do you say that Nightbot knocked you out? Corey and Brandon, you're not wrong, man. I think the edition got put out too fast, and then it started to catch up. We're starting to get. I don't even think 10th. I don't count 10th edition until the first data slate released. I don't.
I would actually say that this data slate's the one that kind of starts the edition full blown. Because I think now we've got where the indexes have been, for the most part, balanced. I think most of the indexes are at a reasonable spot. So now we'll see what the codexes bring.
Would you rather have a meta where only one army is busted, or there's like 4 or 5 armies busted at the top, but when there's only the one army busted, all the other people have had their busted stuff taken away and lose the ability to fight the one busted guy? I feel like that's the difference between these two data slates.
Well, here's the thing is, I would always rather it depends on whether you're saying, am I going to singles or am I going to teams? If I'm doing majority teams, I would always rather have one army be busted because I can get around them very easily. In a singles tournament, when you play only that army, like what was it, 2 LVOs ago, 3 LVOs ago, when the Iron Hands meta was that, and I played 6 of 9 games against the same list, I don't want that in singles.
If LVO was tomorrow, do you think that you would have the same problem with Necrons right now?
No.
No.
I think Necrons are beatable. I think that Necrons. I think the Necrons are 100% the number one army in both Canoptic Court and Hypercrypt, because you have both. They're both very different Necrons. But the Necron book is the best book. They might have the number 1 and number 2 army, because the two armies are significantly different between Hypercrypt and Canoptic Court. But I don't think that they're just ridiculous, like Liquefier,
So-
Drakari, AdMech with all the planes,
So-
Eldar when it came out.
Brad, when you say that they're superior, so this is where I'm going to ask the question of, is it in your average Joe player an equally powerful army as where Eldar was easy button right out of the edition?
Oh, it's not even the same dimension. No.
So it takes skill to play that army to a great level. It is not just, hey, anyone can pick this army up and be amazingly good with it and win, X and 1 at every event. It still takes skill to pilot those two armies. They're good armies, but I think you need a decent pilot to get it to be there.
It's hard to argue with Horton because we did just watch Tom pick up Eldar, having not played it for 2 whole data slates, and get 0 practice games and get a 20 immediately.
Yeah.
So, that might kind of highlight Brian's point that the Eldar army may have been on a different level of nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel that same way. Also, I think that CSM is really powerful still, but it's also not autoplay with Chosen and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they toned back the armies that you could just have anybody pick up and smash. There's some things that are really, really powerful right now, but I still think you need to be able to pilot them, as opposed to with Eldar, just when you went here, play this, click, go, triple night spinners, and Pokeballing and Ginkarn. You know what I mean? That doesn't require anything. You just go, okay, I killed something, and Karn pops up and murders everything inside. Cool. Like,
So, do you think realistically that, for the remainder of their lifetime in the index, or if they just don't get nerfed again, that they should probably not drop below 50%, and this is just what you expect until their codex comes out?
Eldar? I think what's
Yes.
going to happen is you're going to see a lot less players playing Eldar, and the players that are playing it are going to be faction specialists, people that really know Eldar, and they're going to do really well with them. We had that in the past also, though. There's been a lot of times when Eldar was winning at a low rate, but then the people that are very experienced with Eldar were winning at a ridiculous rate. And it was always hard to balance them for that. That was them most of, what was it, 8th or 9th? I can't remember which.
Eighth.
Yeah, 8th edition Eldar was crazy because everybody playing them at the top level was just dismantling people, but your average player was just not getting a great win rate at all. So Eldar is just going to stay where they. I don't know if they stay where they are. They're going to be. The answer is, as usual, me making a short story long.
That's where I can
The
give,
answer is yes.
that's where I give another podcast or live cast, whatever they are, stat check some credit of they start looking at factions played by the top 250 or the top 100 of the ITC rankings, and then kind of pulling data out of that, which can give you much different win rates with stuff, and it shows you percentages of who's playing what in that quote unquote top echelon of things, which is it's kind of a different and neat metric to look at.
Yeah. And you're not wrong.
I want to interrupt for one moment. I'm sorry. I wanted to comment on the wall real quick. I wanted to reiterate something that you said earlier that I think is super important to drive home after this team tournament experience. Kiara had a comment about the matchup, or the Eldar is you can't count it as much in team tournament because you get to pick matchups and such like that. I think we had a couple conversations this weekend, which I found very enlightening because it kind of, I don't know if it's the right word. It helped me realize kind of how my mentality had changed, because this was my 4th team event since 2 ATCs ago. It's a year and a half, 4 events in a year and a half. And I've really gotten into it. Brad and I have really dug in on team stuff, pairings and stuff for the last 8-10 months. I've really been enjoying the theory, the game theory of it. And I was talking to Tom about on the way home this past weekend. This past ATC, I'm sorry. I went in pairings from our team, the Moo Crew, trying to generate as many good matchups as I could. I thought it was a chess game to figure out which team could get more good matchups. And all of our prep for this event with Brad was all about just identifying what the bad matchups were, and we just made sure none of those ever happened. We didn't actually care how good a matchup was. We just wanted to make sure no one ever had a bad one. Talking to other teams and the way they came up with their pairing matrices for this event, I think most other teams are still thinking about it in terms of like trying to give your good armies to good matchups. And I think that kind of goes with what Brad said earlier. It's like that's actually, I think, fundamentally flawed when you think about team tournaments. I think if you go with that approach, you're going to end up with a lot lower ceiling on what you're capable of, because like you're just hoping that you win the pairings, and if the other guy outpairs you, then like there's not a lot of counterplay at that point. I think just trying to avoid bad matchups is gonna, like, one, it makes all your data in a team tournament way more valid because you're just playing normal games of 40K. And two, I think it's just an actual better approach for these team tournaments.
I agree. I mean, it's my team tournament. It's my philosophy. I agree 100%. What was your takeaway after the weekend and the teams, Kyle?
I just love team events. It's having experienced it quickly into my like journey into competitive 40K, it kind of makes me not want to play singles as much and only focus on teams and be the best teams like player that I could be. But I had so much fun in my new role as opposed to the old role, and I just can't wait to get back somewhere else to do this again. That's all I care about.
I have to give this. I do want to do another shout out because I think they both deserve it. JD from Way Games and the Way Games crew. They've got a lot of events coming up. We're going to be talking to them soon. And Juice Resort, loved it. I just want to throw that out because I really want people to support. This is the first year we've ever had this many team events on the horizon. This is wildly more team events than the US has ever had. And it's like literally starting to rival what the Europeans and the Australians have had for a while. And I want us to support them to make sure that it continues, though. You know what I mean? We really have to be supportive as a community, and it's a great way to play. It's fantastic because also, even when the meta's bad, team's still good because you could just isolate those OP armies out. It's amazing. Although I'm unable to talk. Ah! Oh, shit. Plunging fire.
So, I don't know if there's enough time to get to it, but it would be cool to hear everyone's favorite, like a moment from the team's event this weekend. Who went? Me, you, Lyle.
I'd like to hear Brian's favorite moment for the team event first.
Yeah, Brian,
You should
what
start.
was yours?
Yeah.
My favorite moment was seeing some videos of Brad. But anyway, I digress.
That video is not for the internet. That video stays in group chat. That's it.
Absolutely.
Well, what was your favorite moment?
I don't know. The easy answer is going to sound so cliche, but the easy answer is definitely just like hanging out last night after the tournament. Like, not even like as a celebration, just like Brandon had to drive, and that was a bummer because we would love to hung out with him. But just the four of us just like getting dinner, hanging out, watching the stream back, just like shooting the shit in your apartment, and just like that is what team tournament is to me. And like we did similar things on Saturday night, we did similar things Friday night, just hanging out and just like I don't know, like we hang out at every event, but it just feels different when you're hanging out with your team at a team event, and that was like. That really kind of captured the essence of team tournament to me.
Sometimes you got to do karaoke and bench people's girlfriends. What? That's normal.
Look, Brad, you don't get to talk about. If we want to have a karaoke stream, then you know there's only one man that we could bring on here as our guest speaker. That's all I'm going to say.
Just bring a hurdle on.
Gator.
Gator.
Gator is the man.
We had, like I said, we had a great time. It was a great event. But I think the thing is that I enjoy the team events so much all the time. And I love getting to talk about what happened in the games. Because sometimes the best games are, I tell you guys, I've said this story multiple times. some of my favorite games from the team events are the games that I've lost, but I ground out points and then we won because of those points. You know, that's why it's so cool for team events when you're like, you didn't win the game, but your points were the points that pulled the team into a win. It's good. Karaoke in Mandarin. I need this to happen.
So, Brad, do you have a favorite moment?
It was literally that Saturday night with Gator singing karaoke in Guar. I rocked out Delgado and I did Wanted Dead or Alive, and then I said this is the only time I'm coming up, and then I went up like 6 more times. The best was is though we still just got up and immediately were doing pairings after stuff like that. It was just really fun. It's just it's the whole enjoying everything that goes along and getting together and figuring out what's the best thing for the team.
If I have to pick an in tournament moment, because I feel like that's what Kyle wants, I will say that yesterday, round 5, we're trying to lock it down. We know we're in a good spot, and we're just trying to go out there and kind of execute our game plan. And Brad gets a big win, which is not supposed to happen. So Brad lets us know that like even like, there's a moment where he thought something weird could happen, but he pulls it out. He gets a big win. Tom gets a big win quickly. So we're up. I don't know if it was 35-5 or 40-0, but pretty quickly. And then I think Kyle ended his game quicker than we expected. So we kind of knew like we didn't know the exact score, but we knew we were in a good spot. And so like I've spent the entire game asking every single person on the team like, do I need to go for it? Like, because we were on like a mission where I could play really conservatively, just guarantee 10 points and never do anything else. Which, by the way, my list is not supposed to do. I'm not supposed to get 10 points. And it was really weird trying to not move any of my models around. So I'm just like sitting in the middle of the board trying to make sure I get my points. All of a sudden, Kyle comes up to me. He's like, Tom says you need to like 14. You have to get 14 points so we can win. And I was like, I haven't tried to score any points the entire game, and it's halfway through round 4, and you're telling me this now. So I put on my big boy pants, and I just like slam both feet on the gas pedal and sprint every single model of my army across the table and charge in one single turn. And that was fun because that's not supposed to be how that works, but it worked. And so I managed to go from a 10-10 guaranteed score to a 16-4, I think, in like a turn and a half. Which I've never done that in 40K before. So it was just fun being like, okay, the team is asking me to do something. I'm just going to figure it out and go for it. So that was because I would never do that. I would never be in a position in a single player game where I haven't tried to win the game yet, or I was trying to tie. So it was fun just being challenged. Like, you need to go do this right now, and then figuring it out on the fly. That was a really fun experience.
I love it. I'm stealing this from Zoobs because he's on the wall, and then we're going to give the Queen's Wave out, and we'll give a little bit of Stay Milky. He goes, it's amazing how easy it is to wake up and get moving with a world-shattering hangover when you're doing the thing you want to do with the people you want to be doing it with. It's like philosophy right there. Quote. And on that note, check out the 40K Lorecast. Go to the art store.
And most importantly, stay milky.
Stay milky.